If you're a business owner that wants to make serious money with email marketing in 2025, I'm going to be honest with you. There's a lot of new ways of doing email marketing right now out there that just isn't right. And I know this because I've worked with dozens of ecom brands, helping them generate millions of dollars in email revenue. So I've seen what's worked, what doesn't, and most importantly, what's working right now. So in this video, I'm going to show you everything you need to 10x your email revenue in 2025, updated to the current day, so you know that what I'm about to show you is going to help you instantly get better results with email marketing. So let's get right into the video. The first thing I want to talk about is a lot of brands are trying to make everything perfect. So the best approach is obviously to have everything perfected, obviously, top level copy, top level designs, top level strategy and whatnot. But most brands either don't know how to do this at the very, very high level, or they just don't have the capacity to do it because they are either one-man army, or they have some team members who, they can be marketing experts, but they're usually not email marketing experts, which is going to be a huge difference. But with all of that being said, that can stop you from setting up your core email automations, for example, or sending some email campaigns. You can and you should be doing it. That's because even having the basic strategy is going to help you make way more revenue than just having nothing. And I've seen so many brands say like, yeah, I have all of those flows in draft, but I didn't really want to set them live because I don't like them or I don't think they'll do better. And the truth is that yes, probably if you had someone who knows what they're doing hired and you had this person make all of your emails, set them up, they would perform better. But the reality is that you don't need a perfect system to make money, right? Just like with any pretty much even ecom brand or online business in general, you don't need to have a perfect product. What you need is to have the MVP, so a minimum viable product, then launch it, and then you're gonna see if it's gonna bring any results. And the same thing applies to email marketing. So instead of trying to set up everything perfectly, instead of trying to set up 10 flows with 50 emails in total and then preparing the whole month of campaigns before launching anything, focus on the basics, focus on having your core flow set up, welcome flow, abandoned cart, checkout, post purchase, make sure that your pop-up is converting very well, and then send like one campaign a week. If you do the bare minimum, that in itself is going to make you way more money than doing nothing at all. So instead of trying to, be perfect and have the right email strategy, try to do something first. Once you have the foundations, then try to perfect your email strategy. And by doing so, you'll just be making way more revenue, way more sales, and you'll be getting way more conversions. Another thing I wanted to talk about is gonna be list building. So a lot of brands put a huge focus on getting the most subscribers possible, right? I mean, big email lists are super sexy because it's, big numbers, hundreds of thousands of email subscribers, which usually means revenue, right? Well, not really, because the reality is that you can have subscribers that are not interested in what you're selling at all. And this creates a big problem because, first of all, it decreases your deliverability, so your open rates are going down, and in general, your engagement is poor. And secondly, you're paying for profiles that will never buy from you, and your email software is charging you for that. So you're overpaying for profiles that are damaging your deliverability, which is, the opposite of win-win, which would be lose-lose in this case. So what you want to do instead is focus on the quality of your email list. I know the quantity is important, but we've got one client, for example, CheetahRap. We made them like over 530K in 2 months with an email list of 10K people. I don't know what currently revenue you're making, but I guess there's not many brands doing $500,000 every 2 months from 10K people. But we did it, and it wasn't because some outrageous strategy. We just implemented the basics at the very high level, and they had a very high quality email list. So this is exactly what you need to focus on, which is going to be the quality of the list. And one of the best ways to improve your list quality is trying to collect more data from people, right? So instead of asking for their email address only, try to add on SMS as well, phone number. You have one more data point, and you can also reach them by text messages, right? So whether it's flows or campaigns, you have another channel that's going to help you contact them and then make more revenue. But then you can also be collecting zero-party data. So for example, who they are buying for. Is it for themselves? Is it for a gift? What kind of problem their pet is struggling with? Is it diarrhea? Is it scratching? Is it anything else? You can be collecting all of this data. And if you collect all of these data points, yes, you probably will be getting a bit less subscribers onto your email list, but those that join will first of all be super qualified with very high buying intent. And secondly, you will have more data about those people. So converting them and taking them from being prospects to paying customers is going to be easier. Just because you have more data points, you can personalize your content more, you can target their objections even better, and then, speak to their core beliefs and use their language to make sure they're actually having the right content, because that in itself is going to be super important. The third point is going to be deliverability. So deliverability is honestly getting harder every single year. In 2023, people were complaining that it's already hard and it's very hard to get to the primary tab. 2024, it's been pretty much the same, but worse. So everyone was complaining. Yahoo and Gmail, they've been having, multiple updates. 2025, it's worse than ever. It's harder than ever to get outside of the spam folder, and it's not going to get easier. That's unfortunately a sad truth, but deliverability is not going to get easier, mainly because algorithms are getting better. They're learning algorithms and AI and whatnot, so they're actually gonna get better. You probably won't be able to outsmart an algorithm that has billions of dollars in funding behind it. And so what you need to do is take care of the deliverability since day one and keep maintaining and improving it over time. Because I've seen cases where we would come in, help a brand on a consulting basis, for example, take them out of the spam folder and get 50-60% open rates, which is still like super high, but even above 40 is decent. But we would be getting them decent open rates, and then it would be like a one-time thing. So we would take them out of the spam folder, and then in a few months they're pretty much messaging us like, hey, we are landing in the spam folder once again. So the truth is that you can stay out the spam folder, because we've got clients that we've been working with for like almost 3 years now, and we have never had a spam issue, even though all of those algorithm changes. But the thing is that if your approach is wrong, and if you're sending emails in the wrong way, you have the wrong setup, you're sending wrong emails in general to the wrong audience, you will end up in spam. And this is the truth. So most important thing is to have the technical infrastructure, so custom sending domain, all of your DNS records, which is SPF, DKYM, and DMARC. You need to have all of them set up along with the custom sending domain. Connect your domain to Google Post Master Tools, and then monitor your domain reputation, IP reputation, spam rate, all of that. You need to be monitoring it constantly, because some softwares, like for example Klaviyo, they're going to show you spam rate for Gmail 0%, when in reality it can be 10%. And I've seen this happen, so like it's not a random number, it's actually been the case. So make sure that you have all of those technicals in place. Then you want to warm up your domain, so you just start by sending to smaller segments and then keep expanding over time, and ultimately you will be able to get to target most of your email list, most of your email subscribers, and get your emails delivered into the primary tab. So again, you can't ignore this, because if you ignore deliverability, you will have a very, very hard time improving your email results in general. And one more thing when it comes to deliverability is cleaning your email list. You probably have dozens of thousands of people that aren't opening your emails, aren't visiting your website, and will never buy from you. So again, you need to remove those people. And I know that, when I say remove those people, like delete them, people freak out. Like, hey, I was building the list for so long, you're pretty much about to delete 10 or 20% of my whole list. Like, why would you do it? And the reason is simple. Those people are not engaging with us anyways. They will never buy from us. I mean, maybe there's 0.001% chance that some of them will buy, but it's not worth it to keep damaging your deliverability, keep overpaying for your software, just so maybe those people will convert. Remove those people and focus on engaged subscribers that are showing an interest in what you're selling, and they just have a higher chance of purchasing from you, because this is gonna improve your open rates, make your whole domain reputation better, and ultimately make you more sales as well. Another important misconception I wanted to talk about is thinking about only sending emails, right? And I know it's super simple. Like even I myself sometimes, I know I'm gonna tweet like, hey, if you want to make more money, send more emails. And that's true, because ultimately if you send more emails, the chances of you making less money are probably quite low, unless again your deliverability will start suffering. But other than that, a lot of people think that email marketing is only about sending emails. And this is right, but too many brands and companies focus only on the percentage attributed revenue. Like for example, in Ecom, people will just obsess over this, like, hey, how much is your email revenue? What's your percentage revenue? And this is important because it is an indicator of how well your emails are doing, but it shouldn't be a benchmark. We've got clients doing 50% for email revenue every single month, and they're okay-ish. They're, like not over the top. They're somewhat satisfied. And then we've got clients who are way bigger in terms of total revenue, but for example, they're making 20% from email. But the 20% that they're making is, pretty much allowing them to grow from 300K a month to 900K a month. I'm also gonna pull up a screenshot because that was the case. In 4 months, one brand, we took them from like 60K a month to 940K a month. where emails, went from like 30-40k to 262k. And for this brand, it was 20 something ish percent. And they're super happy because this allowed them to scale. And also, like, whenever you're spending more on ads, your email revenue percentage wise will drop, right? Plus, we're talking only about attributed email revenue, not about revenue generated. We're not talking about metrics like customer acquisition cost, new customer acquisition cost, your LTV, your AOV, your retention rate, your sign up, so someone who opted in, to conversion rate. All of those metrics are important, but nobody talks about them because, the only sexy thing is percentage email revenue. And again, I agree somewhat because I do this as well, but I do this purely because of the marketing. Like whenever, a brand sees high percentage revenue, they're like, okay, how can we get there as well? But then when I again dive deep, most brands are not going to get to the 50% mark, and that's truth. If you're seeing brands at 50% mark, and we have those clients as well, it's usually an exception. This is one thing. And the other thing is that I've audited so many accounts with 40-50% email revenue, like email attributed revenue. But first of all, their email attribution was like 30 days or 15 days. For example, we're using 5 days by default. Some clients 2 days, some clients 1 day. So 15 to 30 days is crazy. Then they were not excluding false opens or false clicks. So, someone, for example, received an email, Klaviyo marked it as opened, and then if someone made a sale or made a purchase, the revenue would get attributed to the email. So the email did not generate this revenue or this sale, but it just attributed or kind of like pretty much stole the sale, okay? So this is another thing, and probably most important, if you run a subscription-based brand and you have clients who are, have a recurring subscription, if they receive an email from you and they open an email from you and their subscription, period kicks in, the sale will get attributed to the email. Even though the email did not sell it, the subscription just kicked in. But this is unfortunately how Klaviyo works. You can have a workaround around this, but it requires you to custom code the metric, which is revenue excluding subscriptions. So again, just something to keep in mind that yes, percentage email revenue is important. It is an indicator of how well you're doing, but don't obsess over going like, 50%, 60%, because usually those brands are underspending on ads, or they have active subscriptions that are falsely attributing the sales, or they just have a huge attribution window, like 15 to 30 days, which is just, I don't even want to talk about it because that's like topic for a separate video. But this attribution is just huge. It's misleading, and those practices are attributing the sales and not generating them. So instead of focusing on just one metric, focus on other metrics as well. Like I said before, new customer acquisition cost, retention rate, AOV, LTV, profit margin, all of that is important. And you need to combine this with percentage email revenue, because yes, you can be looking at the percentage revenue alone. It will give you a somewhat idea of how well the brand or your emails are doing, but you need more context. And that context and focusing on the back end is what will make you more money, because instead of obsessing how can we attribute more sales, you will start focusing on how we can generate more sales, which ultimately is exactly what will grow your business. So once again, just to summarize very quickly, instead of focusing on, some vanity metrics like email revenue, focus on that, like email attributed revenue percentage wise. Instead of focusing on that, focus on the backend metrics as well. Is the store growing? Is profitability getting better? Is the LOV increasing? AOV, LTV, all of those, focus on them. And this is how you will grow your brand long term and do it profitably. Then another point is a lot of brands and people, when they see or hear email marketing, they think about retention. And this is true because email marketing is a great way to, retain customers. And in general, whenever you hear retention marketing, you probably think of email marketing. And again, this is right. But a lot of people underestimated how well it works for acquiring new customers. We've got one client who we've been working with for quite a while right now, but initially we started only by sending campaigns, and we were sending those campaigns only to non-buyers. So he had an email list of like 12k people and 6k, like 5 to 6k, so like roughly half of this list were non-buyers. So people that, they had on the email list, whether they subscribed through the pop-up, through the checkout, through the embedded sign-up form, doesn't matter. They just were on the email list. But those 6k people never purchased, like the name suggests, they're non-buyers. So what we've done instead is, instead of trying to set up the flows or send campaigns to everyone, we were for a full month sending campaigns only to non-buyers. And the result was quite amazing because we got them 10% more revenue. So normally when you hear like 10% revenue coming from Klaviyo or from email, that's somewhat average, like it's not anything exceptional. But when you think that, okay, but these are only new customers, then it's actually getting crazy, because if we keep doing this, then every single month you'll be increasing your revenue by 10%, just by acquiring new customers that are already in your email list. So they're not seeing your ads probably, unless you run some heavy retargeting for people that were active on site like half a year ago, but they're new customers. And if you keep sending and converting those people, your store-wide customer acquisition cost will drop because you're not paying for ads, you're not paying for anything. I mean, you're technically paying for software, email agency, or a partner, or whoever you're using for emails, and that's pretty much it. But your store-wide customer acquisition costs will go down. So this is only, this was only done through campaigns. Now, if you plug in your welcome flow, which is strictly designed to take someone from a stranger to a paying customer, if you take your abandonment emails, so site abandonment, browse abandonment email, collection abandonment, abandoned cart checkout, all of those emails are pre-purchase, and their goal is to take someone from considering a purchase to actually becoming a paying customer. So again, treat email as your acquisition channel as well. And whenever creating a campaign calendar for the full month, make sure to include the acquisition campaigns as well, because yes, retention is important, but in general, retention is mainly driven by your product. So if you have a good product and you focus only on acquiring the customers, your monthly recurring revenue will keep growing because your customer base is growing as well. So you just need to focus on acquisition as well, not only retention. And now, last but not least, is gonna be having an old channel. So this is super important, especially with Meta right now. These days I'm seeing so many brands complain about their Meta ads, saying that they're performing not that well. They are underperforming quite a lot actually, and it's very hard to scale because overnight the performance dropped. Like they didn't change anything, they didn't change the creatives, ad copy, the budget, anything else, campaign structure. They didn't do anything, they didn't touch the ads manager, and overnight the revenue drops or else goes to pretty much unprofitable right away, and they don't know what to do. And this is a big problem because if you don't have an email list or email and SMS list in this case, you will have a very, very, very hard time scaling only with Meta ads, mainly because of example that I told you about right now. So if you're running ads and something wrong happens, Meta is gonna be acting like crazy, which it tends to do quite often, every single year actually. It will be very, very hard for you. So you can't be relying only on Meta, because if that happens, your revenue drops, profitability drops, you have lots of stock that you need to sell, you're paying for ads, so you're having tons of cash spent into or put into ad spend, but you're not moving your inventory fast enough, so your cash flow is gonna suffer. Without emails, that's gonna be a very tough situation. Fortunately, you can build your email list, and if you own a channel, then even if Meta is undergoing some crazy changes, algorithms changing, ads underperforming or whatever, you can still send emails to your email list and generate sales and make up for the lost revenue that is coming from Meta. So let's say we have a 2 weeks period where Meta ads are doing worse. Instead of sending 1 or 2 campaigns a week, you can be sending 3 to 4 to even 5 campaigns a week, and you can make up for this revenue. So you're making sales, you're getting cash, and then you're putting this cash into your ads, into your inventory, and the whole business is rolling. Otherwise, if the ad performance goes down, you will have a super hard time scaling without own channels. So something to note as well. And we've also seen multiple stories where brands will just get their ad account banned for no reason or as restricted, and then they're pretty much I don't want to say starting from scratch, but if you lose your pixel, if you lose your ad account, you're kind of starting from scratch, because it's gonna be very hard to get the ad account running to the level that you had before. So without email list, that will be very hard task. In some cases, it can actually destroy the whole business. But again, fortunately, you can start building your email list. So make sure that you just have the simple pop-up. I have a separate video on that as well. But in general, your pop-up should be converting a decent part of your visitors into email subscribers that you can then convert through your flows and then from the through the campaigns as well. But I covered that when it comes to acquisition campaigns. So that's exactly what you need to do and why you need to own your email list, because it's pretty much this is the only owned channel that you fully control, and you decide what kind of content those people are going to see. So nobody's going to restrict your emails because you said the wrong word. Nobody's going to, block your email from being sent out because you used a comparison side by side. You can do all of that. Obviously, you need to stay compliant so you don't let it in spam folder. But if you follow all of those practices, you can pretty much do anything you want without seeing those revenue drops. And, it will be just more stable and predictable growth rather than having one good day, one bad day, and so on and so on. So again, remember about building your emails, because this is going to be your business's best asset that you ever own, that pretty much generates revenue whenever you need it. You just plug an email, create it, send it to the right segments, and then you make money. I know it sounds simple, but it kind of is. So make sure that you start building your email list and you kind of pay more attention to that, because if your email list is going to be left if no you're not gonna be doing anything, and then after 3 months of someone subscribing you'll send their first email, they won't care. They're gonna delete it right away, mark you as a spam, unsubscribe, and you won't convert them. So again, this is important to build your own email list as an owned traffic source, but then maintain it as well and stay on the top of the customer's mind. So whenever you want to even make up for those lost sales from Meta, you can go broader with broader segments and then make those sales. So having worked with pretty much every e-com niche and digital brand in this space, those are my best thoughts on the new way to 10x your email marketing results in 2025. This video just covers some of the high level strategies that I have personally developed after working with all of the brand owners that I worked with. So take all of these thoughts and apply them to your email marketing strategy if you want to 10x your email revenue this year and for years to come. And of course, there are going to be some things that just I couldn't cover, like the exact step-by-step BCM framework that we use to help businesses 10x their email revenue. So if you want your hands-on approach and you want to see if you would be a good fit to work with us, with me and my team, then click the link below this video to see if I can help you generate more email revenue every single day, every single week, and every single month. Follow me on Twitter, go back to my YouTube, watch some of the other tutorials, and watch everything I've got to, pretty much increase your email revenue. But other than that, I'll see you in the next one. Cheers, thanks for watching.